Well, welcome everyone. We're so glad that you could make it here today for Brian and my presentation on daily living supports for older adults. We're going to switch gears a little bit today and go a little bit more low tech, although we still have a few high tech things, but we're going to be featuring a little more low tech devices than we usually do. And as Naomi mentioned, this is our last workshop of the Assistive Technology for Older Adults series. For those of you who've been at one or more of the previous workshops, we really appreciate you tuning in today. And as always, afterwards or during, we really appreciate your questions or your comments, because audience participation always makes it better. Okay, so why should we talk about using daily living supports? Well, one of the biggest reasons is to increase independence.
Here.
For older adults living at home, we want them to be able to do as much as possible on their own, like perhaps they used to be able to. So we want to increase independence as much as possible. We also are interested in improving safety, saving time, and supporting socialization, etc. And this is becoming painfully obvious to all of us who've been going through the pandemic, as we all have. And for older adults living at home, it's been doubly difficult because they have to also be careful about social isolation, so they don't get sick and make others sick. So independent living supports are always important, but even more important now. So who needs independent living supports? People with visual limitations, cognitive challenges, folks with memory issues, dementia, Alzheimer's, individuals with physical disabilities, sensory disabilities, executive function disorders, communication or language challenges, or those living on their own, or any combination of those. And Brian, feel free to jump in if you want to add anything at any point.
Thank you.
Okay, some specific daily living challenges could be related to eating, cooking, bathroom safety, communication, mobility, driving, dressing and undressing, time management, environmental control, and socialization. And when we're talking about safety, most accidents do happen in the bathroom, slips and falls. So if there's anything you can do to reduce slips and falls in the bathroom, you're doing everyone a huge favor. We'll be going through a number of assistive technologies that address one or more of these needs. Okay. Whoops, sorry. So first we're going to talk about low and medium tech daily living supports. So that could be mini food processors, jar pops for opening up jars, adapted eating utensils, adapted cooking utensils, adapted cups, expandable door hinges, plug pullers, braille kitchen timers, walker baskets, long shoehorn, elastic shoelaces, big button TVs, adapted pens, or big button phones. And the two items that are shown on this page are the hole-in-one key holder and the hole-in-one button puller. And I actually designed these when I worked for Matic in the mid-90s, and still being sold, which is nice to see. But these are good for someone with arthritis or someone who has difficulty holding something small, and it can help you with locking and unlocking your door, or buttoning or unbuttoning your shirt.
Yeah, so using some high-tech daily living supports can be really helpful. And there are a number of smart speakers. We're going to go into them a little bit more in depth as we move through this webinar. But a lot of homes now are also being billed as smart homes. So they have, you could have sensors, you can have, smart thermostats to help individuals control the temperature. Also, certainly, even small on-person devices in case they fall with alerts. There's a company actually in New Jersey, we'll talk about it a little later in this webinar, that has a number of sensors that you can put into the individual's home that has learns the patterns of the individual and will send notifications to loved ones if the patterns are off. Certainly calendar apps, smartwatches, tablets, and computers. But especially in this time of the pandemic, having these devices is really important, as Adam, pointed out, in terms of keeping family members connected and for socialization purposes.
Okay, next. Okay, so I've got some of these items. I'm just going to show them to you. Um, we'll have time to talk about them a little bit later. But this first one, just Brian, let me know just that you can see this. I
I
should.
can. Yep.
Okay,
Are
so
you
this is,
switching? Are you switching to your document camera, or just going to use a web camera?
I'm going to use my webcam.
That's fine. I see it. Go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, so this is called the jar pop. And the way this works is it goes under the edge of a jar and it breaks the seal. I mean, it doesn't break it, it pops the seal. So then you can remove it easily. So it fits underneath and you go pull it up and it breaks the vacuum seal and then you can open it up a little bit easier.
Adam, how much does something like that cost?
This is about $5.
Oh, okay, that's great.
They come in multicolor packets too.
Okay,
I've seen them pretty much everywhere, but
okay. It's a handy
pretty
device, Yeah,
it's pretty
yeah,
ingenious, yeah.
yeah, yeah.
And this is great for someone with arthritis or a difficulty with hand strength or coordination. Now, mini food processor, and I've got one here. Mini food processors are great because a lot of people get fearful of cutting of vegetables. They're concerned about using a knife, or the family members are concerned about them using a sharp cooking knife. And if you want to chop up vegetables or fruit or anything, using a little food processor is way safer than cutting it with a knife. And there's a million different
Mhm.
mini food processors out there and all across the price range. So
That's a,
something like this.
yeah, that's a great tool. I actually have one that I have an attachment from my Hamilton blender, and I use it
Mhm.
all the time. And it's great because it's also dishwasher safe. So you can, afterwards you can just stick in the dishwasher and get it cleaned up. So it is a great tool. It really is.
Yeah, and I like the fact that you can't really operate these unless it's closed safely. So there's a lot of safety features built in. Um, and I think it's a nice way to be able to chop up things independently
So
and with greater
So
safety.
for our next webinar, it's Adam and Brian Cook. Is that it?
Why not? Right, we'll use all these for cooking. Why not? I'm up for it.
That's good.
The next item is foam adapted eating utensils. And this is um, foam tubing. It You could buy it at a hardware store, but it also comes in packs of different size diameter foam. And occupational therapists use this all the time. You just cut the piece you want, and you can take a regular old spoon and you push the tubing over it, and voila, you've got something that's a lot easier to hold on to. So if you have, again, arthritis, or if you have limited hand strength, or just a little bit of difficulty holding onto a regular eating utensil, you could use this rubber foam, and it's great for adapting anything: toothbrushes, pencils. This picture shows a shaver, razor blade. You could, so anything that'll fit, and it does come in different sizes. So again, sometimes you can find this stuff at hardware stores, but this comes in multi-diameter packs. Really handy. I think it's good just to have a bunch of this around because you never know when you want to adapt something. You just cut your piece of foam and slide it on. Long handled shoehorn. So if you or someone that you know has ever had surgery, let's say hip surgery, or have back problems or balance problems, using a shoehorn to get your shoes on and off can be difficult. But a long shoehorn enables you to do that either from a sitting position without having to bend too far, or you could use it from a standing position. So you stand, you just reach behind and help you get your shoe on or off. And this particular one does have a little slot, which is for pushing your sock off. So you push this down on the edge of the sock and it helps push the sock off of your foot. And they come in all shapes and sizes. This particular one is metal, but they have plastic ones and different length ones. Walker baskets. Now, walker baskets seem kind of like a mundane sort of thing, but if you have to use a walker, chances are you're going to need to use both hands to hold on to the walker and to steady yourself, and also to support yourself, to keep yourself upright. And if you are using a walker and you want to go from the kitchen to the living room couch because you want to bring your drinks and snacks, you can't really do that in the walker and hold your items at the same time. So something like a walker basket, and again, they come in all shapes and sizes. I could put my objects in here or whatever it is I want, and then I can safely use the walker and I don't have to worry about also carrying these items. Or if you want to have your phone with you, you just put your phone in the walker basket. It's with you wherever you go with your basket. So walker baskets are really helpful if you have a walker or know someone has a walker and they don't have a walker basket, it's a nice investment. And they come in all shapes and sizes, and from inexpensive to a little fancier ones, but there's a lot to pick from. Expandable door hinges. Now, this may not seem very useful, and I didn't really understand expandable door hinges until I actually got to look at one and I understood. Also, if you're in the process of making a home accessible for someone who's using a wheelchair, let's say they didn't have a wheelchair before, didn't need one, and then now they do need to use their wheelchair at home, you're going to have to think about the widths of your doors. And a lot of doors are not designed, especially in older homes, to be wide enough to be able to wheel a wheelchair through. And what expandable door hinges does is it swings the door out of the way. It swings it away from the door opening. So you actually gain 1 to 2 inches of width. And sometimes that can make the difference between getting through the door or not. And that could save you a lot of money. You don't have to have the door modified and get a new door. You just get the door hinges and it swings it out of the way. So expandable door hinges can be a saver, time saver, money saver, etc. I'd see those at all kinds of hardware stores. Elevated toilet seat. Most people don't like to talk about using the toilet for obvious reasons, but getting up and down onto the toilet seat and doing it safely is really important. Again, if someone has balance issues, strength issues, or they have a hip surgery, or they have arthritis or joint problems, getting up and down from the toilet and staying on the toilet safely is super important, because obviously, using the toilet's important. You have to do it multiple times a day. And a product like this is not only an elevated seat, which makes it easier to get on and off, but it has the handles to help you stay upright while you're on, but also to help you get to stand up. You can push on the handles and get to a standing position. This kind of toilet seat would not be good for someone using a wheelchair per se, unless they could do a standing transfer. But if they had to do a sliding transfer, they would need a different kind of seat.
And also bear in mind that, I mean, if you're thinking about, changing out your toilets, there are, different toilets at different heights. So you want to, you can always put in a permanent, if you don't need the handrails, you can always put in an adult toilet. And what a difference it makes. We did that a couple of years ago in our home, and what a difference it makes between having the traditional versus the, sort of adult size that you can sit on, and as you get older, it makes a big difference using it.
Absolutely. That's a really good point, Brian. And just as an aside, I mean, if you need help making your home accessible, it's a good idea to get help. And you could get help from a number of agencies and organizations. For instance, if you're getting physical therapy, post surgery, etc., sometimes the physical therapist or occupational therapist will come to your home and give you recommendations on ways that you can make your home more accessible. There are also programs like Advancing Opportunities, Reducing Barriers program, and there are a number of other state agencies that provide this. Disability Rights New Jersey ATAC Center can give you more information about help with making your home more accessible.
And while we're in the bathroom, one of the things I actually recently put in not too long ago was an Amazon Alexa Flex, and it's a small little Alexa device you can plug into the outlet. And it also has the ability to put a night light in that automatically senses when it gets dark. So you have the benefit of basically being able to use it as a device, but also as a night light, which can be really helpful.
And Brian, could you also use that as an alert system if you fell and needed help?
Yeah, I mean, it's not connected to 911, but you could call, let's say, a loved one and say that you were hurt. So yeah, so it does have that capabilities. And there are some skills that allow you to set up kind of like first alerts that will automatically text people. So it has full functionality, and it comes in it's a small little unit, and you could attach that night light, which is great as well.
Mm-hmm.
And it's fairly inexpensive, which is nice.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Good point. Okay, large button TV remotes. These come in all shapes and sizes. Here's one that I happen to have. The buttons are big, so it's good for someone with low vision or someone who has difficulty pushing small buttons, or limited fine motor skills, etc. And these are typically programmable remote controls. So they learn the codes of your existing remote controls, and they're typically multifunction. So this would be TV. You can tell how old it is.
Oh,
It
wow.
says VCR, but it does have DVD. Okay, so it's not entirely obsolete, and it will learn all your codes. And mobile phones, a lot of mobile phones, smartphones are not the easiest to use for older adults. Either they have difficulty understanding or learning how to use a touch screen, or they just prefer, physical buttons that they can push. Some of the flip phones have very small buttons, but there's absolutely more. There's definitely a lot more choices in terms of large button cell phones and basic mobile phones. So definitely seek them out. If you're getting a new phone from somewhere, ask the company you're getting your service from for the options for large button cell phones, and sometimes simpler is better, especially with phones. Reachers and grabbers. There are so many reachers and grabbers out there. Must be thousands of different models. But there's basically for two main uses: for reaching things that are high, a high shelf, so you don't have to get up on a ladder, or picking things up from the ground, so you don't have to get down on your knees to pick it up. And they have different lengths, so they have shorter ones, longer ones. They have some that are adjustable, and different type of jaws. These are plastic. The one in the picture has a rubber insert, and different feels. So it's a good idea to try these out if you can. Sometimes pharmacies tend to have reachers in stock, but you could also ask an occupational therapist or a physical therapist to help you pick one if you're having difficulty deciding. The reachers and grabbers are super important. They also have some with magnets on the end, so you can pick up paper clips off the ground, things like that. And adapted pen. Now, I don't have this particular pen with me. I used to, but I think I gave it away. And the thing that's nice about this pen is you don't actually have to hold it. It has a little flat part on the bottom, and you rest it on your paper, and you just slide it around. So when you push the button on top and make the pen nib come out, it's at the right height, so that you just have to slide it around correctly to do your writing. You could hold it in a variety of ways, but you don't actually have to hold it completely in your hand. So it's a little bit easier for someone with arthritis or limited hand functionality to do some handwriting. And there are also thousands of different kinds of adapted pens out there. Definitely check them out and see which ones seem to be a good match.
So one of the, when we start moving into technology, we start talking about some of these virtual assistants or smart speakers. I just put some pictures of some of the newest ones. The one up in the, looks like a globe or a sphere, is the latest one. It's the Echo. Oh, go back one.
Oh, sorry.
Is the Echo, and some of these start around $30, so that you can get into them at a very low price point. The one in the bottom right just came out, and this one's unique in that it's basically on a motorized turret that will follow you as you move in. Let's say the room that you're in, so it follows you and tracks you. And it can also, it can make for a really nice video conferencing station. And some of these in the near future will, you can right now watch YouTube videos, and you also will be able to have Zoom conferences on these shortly, as well. So they come in different shapes, sizes, but they, for the most part, they all maintain the same functionality, so that they can, read books, and they can, you can set up alerts, and you can control your environment. So they're really, really nice to have in your household. We just got one as a gift from my daughter, and Facebook has one called the Portal, which also has that same capability, where it doesn't have a motor, but it's got some intelligence, and it can track as you move around. So again, if you're into Facebook, you can use Facebook Messenger or the WhatsApp to use it as a video conferencing station, which is really nice. So Kathy Sullivan said the Facebook portal is awesome. Yeah, it is. It really is. So we have family members who, are grandparents, and they connect with their kids and watch their kids. And as their kids are moving around, they're able to see them. The kids don't go out of view, which is really nice. So that's great. All right, Adam, we're gonna come on up. So one of the, especially during the pandemic, it hit a lot of people really hard because they couldn't see their loved ones, and you'll have access to get this slide deck. And if you hit click here, it will show you how you can help set up an Alexa remotely, which is really important. So if you purchase one for your mom or your dad or a loved one, you'll be able to set it up remotely, so that they will then be able to have full functionality and use it for video conferencing, as well as all the other skills that are available. Just so you understand the terminology, if you have an iPhone or an Android phone or an iPad, we talk about apps. On the Alexa devices, we're really talking about, they call them skills. And I would say 99.9% of the skills are free. So once you enable the skill with your voice or through the app, then you can use the functionality of that particular skill. So when you get the slide deck, if you click on the click here, it should take you to the Amazon site, which can walk you through how to set this up for a loved one remotely.
Now, Brian, will that work for pretty much any of the Echo devices,
Absolutely, yes.
the instructions?
Yes. Mhm.
Great.
So, not to I mean, there are different smart speakers. Google has their Nest Mini and Hub. So if you like the Google, ecosystem, you can use a Google device. They have the same functionality, and there's a picture of the Facebook portal. I just wanted to kind of give you a sense of what's going to happen. I just actually Amazon is doing some really interesting things. If you've ever been involved in something called Kickstarter, these are generally kind of projects that if they get funded through crowdsourcing, meaning people put their money in and sort of take a bet that it will be built. So Amazon started basically a Kickstarter campaign to build this smart sticky note printer that works with Alexa. So they said if they raise or they get a lot of interest in it, they will build it. So it's currently not built. I backed it, so I got it at a lower cost than you will be able to buy it once it's out. But what's interesting is that, just imagine that you're using the Alexa device to create your list of food that you need to purchase. You will be able now, using this printer, to just say, Alexa, print my food list, and it will go out wirelessly, connect to your Alexa device
Sorry,
and
I'm
print.
not sure.
Yeah, that's my device. So it's kind of interesting what the possibilities are. So
Searching.
that's my Alexa. We'll do a demo in a bit.
Now connected to iPhone.
Yeah, great. So it's kind of interesting, some of the new accessories that can be connected to this. Adam, you were talking even about navigation. I mean, I'm going to use Madam A in my car. And so I can use it for directions, for getting the news, for turning on lights and turning things on and off from my car. So, I mean, going forward, I mean, there's no limitations really using this technology. It's basically, based on our imagination and what we want to see happen. So it's interesting how they're building this platform that can be used in so many different ways.
Now, Brian, one thing that confused me when the Facebook portal first came out is that the Alexa functions are embedded in it.
Yes.
So it will do Facebook stuff and Alexa stuff.
Absolutely, yes. But what it does is it uses your Facebook Messenger contacts, or since Facebook also owns WhatsApp, you can also use it with WhatsApp contacts as well. And it has when it wants to go into your contacts, it goes through a process where it verifies your account, and then it pulls them in. So then you can use your voice to say, call Adam, and then it will go ahead and look into your contact database to do that. Yes.
And can you do all the things you can do with a regular Amazon Alexa
Yeah,
then?
absolutely. So I can listen to the news. I can control thermostats, lights. So it has basically Madame A embedded in it, in addition to the other Facebook
Hmm.
extras that gives you access to.
Okay, thanks.
So these are I'll call them just standalone devices. This one is Sociavi, and I like to highlight this because developer and owner of Sociavi. She's a New Jersey resident. And she developed this as a way for individuals to keep in touch. So the whole idea of soci being social, but it does have some added functionality. The nice part is it's very easy to configure. You can also give loved ones access to this so they can upload videos and photos, um, you know, in your family. And so that's fantastic. You can also use it for scheduling and reminders. It does have a touch interface and it works with iPhones or Android phones as well. But I have one in the house that I've tested for a while. And what's nice is I can give my daughter, I can send her an invite, and then she can easily, in a sense, upload to the server pictures of videos, and then that I can view on the Sociavi. So this doesn't use your voice. This uses touch. This is intended to be, maybe in the kitchen or a bedroom where you want to share, photos of loved ones, which is nice.
And Brian, is this its own device? So
Yes,
it's a different,
it's a
different hardware.
standalone device, mainly used for sort of as a picture carousel. You can do video conferencing as well, from your contacts, and you can also set reminders and schedules. And again, if if it was in your, let's say, your mom or your dad's house, you can give your daughter control so they can control the schedule, reminders, things of that sort,
Mm,
which is nice.
mm. I could see this being used in places like group homes or independent living
Yeah, and
centers.
I think the real strength of this is the ease of use of inviting others so that they can basically put up pictures and videos. So, again, imagine you have a whole bunch of grandchildren. You can give them invites and they can, post their pictures of what they're doing and keep loved ones connected. So it's a really nice device, and it works well. All you need is Wi-Fi
As a subscription?
and a subscription. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So this is another Caregiver Smart Solutions. This is another New Jersey-based company, which is exciting, and they're all about sensors. I mean, a lot of seniors may not be comfortable with having cameras in their home, and so what Caregiver Smart Solution does is they put sensors and begin to learn the patterns of the seniors in that household. So it could be a sensor on a pill bottle. It could be a sensor on a refrigerator. It could be a motion sensor in the hallway. And what it does is it learns the patterns. So, for example, if you have a motion sensor in the bathroom, it may learn that on average you go to the bathroom three times, during the night. If for some reason it goes down to one, the loved one's going to get a notification that something's not right. Or if the refrigerator door isn't opened up a certain number of times during the day, or if the cap of the medicine bottle isn't opened. And so through learning and artificial intelligence and algorithms, it learns what's happening in that household without the need for cameras, and it will alert individuals as to what may be happening.
Okay, so those are just motion sensors. There's no
A whole
cameras
bunch of
involved.
yeah. This company uses sensors, all kinds of different kinds of sensors, to understand the patterns of the individual living in that household. Yeah.
Oh. And Brian, is this also a subscription?
I believe so. Yes.
Uh-huh.
So just as some general tasks for consider for long distance caregivers, checking in on the person, dropping in. The nice part about some of these technologies is the automaticity of notifications. In addition, again, if you have sort of administrative rights, you can come in on what web cameras, you can turn on lights, open doors, and you can monitor from afar, which is nice. So even like with the Alexa devices, you know, if you had smart plugs and you had, in a sense, control of that account, you can come in and check to see if the lights are on, if the lights are off, things of that sort, which can be important and also give you a sense of, you know, a confidence and reassurance that your loved ones are doing, you know, okay, which is really, really good. Some of these you can do on your own, which is nice. I mean, I've been using for many years some of the equipment from the company Wise, WYZE. They make very affordable motion sensors, cameras that you can monitor from afar. So you know, it's really exciting technology that's very affordable.
Okay.
So we can kind of just, you know, chime in here, but with some of these devices, I mean, we talked about environmental control, which is important, and also one of the things Adam and I, when we've done some, you know, live demos, if the individual's using an AAC device, we found that for the most part, Alexa can handle it and then just carry out the command as if you set it to the Alexa device. The other thing too is, how do we keep, you know, older individuals sort of connected using these devices? They can, you know, listen to audiobooks, they can listen to the news, podcasts, even play games to keep their cognitive skills sharp. One of the biggest uses I know myself is setting alarms and reminders to wake up, or in the kitchen, especially individuals that may have issues around memory, setting reminders and timers for cooking can be invaluable as a way not to burn your, you know, food, and to remember to, you know, pay attention to it. In addition, if you have multiple devices in their household, you can actually use Alexa as an intercom system, which is really nice. So it's a great way to communicate even throughout a larger household. And of course, you can always do drop-ins, which are like video conferences with the Alexa devices that have screens on them, which is really nice. And you can, like I said, you can watch YouTube videos and other services on the devices with screens.
They're slowly turning into computers.
They are, yeah. And I said later. I don't know when, but you soon be able to, you know, do a Zoom session on the devices with screen,
Mm.
which is
Interesting.
really interesting. Yeah. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
so there's, yeah.
Here's some additional web links. We have a list of all the New Jersey centers for independent living independent living. That'll give you the independent living center for every county in New Jersey. And then links for some of the companies of products that were shown today: Ableware, Independent Living Aids, Maxi Aids, AliMed, Rehab Mart, and the Right Stuff. So when you get a copy of the presentation, you will get those links as well as the ones that Brian included on the other slides. I think, Brian, it might be a good idea at this point to open it up
Sure,
to
absolutely.
questions, either through your microphone, or
Chat, yeah.
through the chat. I'm kind of curious as to, you know, which kinds of independent living aids people are using, or if there's something particular that you're looking for that we did not talk about today.
Yeah. There's a question. You can sync the Alexa device with your Google Calendar, which you're able to do. So you can, you know, once you do that, you can say, Alexa, what's on my calendar?
It looks like I no longer have access to one of your calendar accounts because your login has expired.
Okay.
Please
So,
relink your account by visiting calendar settings in your Alexa app.
yeah, so you can go into your Alexa app and you have to verify and allow it to do it. It's not automatic, but that is an option as well. does the Sociavi sync? No, there's no syncing. There's no I mean, there is a function that allows you to put dates into a calendar with reminders, but currently I don't believe it syncs with, let's say, a Google calendar.
Now, Brian, if you're linking your Amazon Echo with your Google
Yeah.
account, don't they have to be on the same login?
No, because what's going to happen is you're going to go into your Alexa account, say you want to use your Google, and then you have to verify that you have access to your Google account. Yeah, so you
And you have to,
verify. Yeah.
okay, but they could be on different accounts,
Yes.
your Alexa app and your Google
Correct.
Calendar. Got it. Okay. So you can turn on your microphone or you can use the chat box. Let us know what kinds of of daily living devices you've used, or if you know of a good one that we didn't talk about, or questions about any of the ones that we talked about. Now's your time. Okay. So I wanted to show you, I'm going to share my screen again. And I keep showing this. Okay. There is a link to a short survey. I'm going to put this in the chat.
Okay.
And if you could go to this link and fill out the short survey about today's presentation, it would be greatly appreciated. And
Yeah, someone asked about the GrandPad, which is a like I guess an iPad-like device. One of my colleagues, Joan Green,
mhm,
has used it, and she speaks highly of it. But I don't have any experience, with it. But it allows for kind of that, video conferencing capabilities, and has some, intended for seniors.
GrandPad. Okay, haven't heard of that one. Other questions, comments?
There's a question. My daughter is unable to wipe herself. Any aids or suggestions about a bidet?
Yeah. Well, bidets are a good option for that kind of a situation. There's a lot of different bidets out there. There's also some add-on bidets. It's basically like a water nozzle that you can add to an existing toilet. I would check out Matic, Ableware, and a few other places. I would also definitely check with like an outpatient rehab, similar to Kessler Institute or organization like that. But if you have difficulty finding resources on different bidets, send me an email and I'll see if I can do some research for you.
Playing from iPhone.
Let's see, transfer pads. Oh yeah. All right, swivel seats are great, swivel pads and transfer pads. Getting in and out of a car is actually a lot harder than most of us who do it every day realize, especially if you have mobility or strength issues. And that's a really good point, that there are transfer pads and transfer not bars, but transfer platforms that help you transfer from your wheelchair seat to car seat. So that's a very good point.
I've used one with a friend of mine who basically it's a handle that gets inserted into the frame of the car, that where the car door would lock, and it added tremendous support for him to be able to kind of brace himself as he's getting out.
Yeah. Yeah, another thing that's nice is like a handle that gets attached right to the bar at the top
Yes.
of the door that you
Yes.
can hold on to.
Right.
while you're transferring in or out of the car.
Yeah.
Those are quite nice as well. Yes, where can we get these? Which ones were you talking about? Yes, where can we get
The
the
hand.
handles? Oh, okay. Send me an email and I'll get you information about the handles for cars. And in a minute, I'm gonna show our contact information and our email. Maybe I'll put our email addresses in the chat window. Let's do that.
It looks like, oh yeah, it looks like Amazon has a number of handles. If and it also goes by the name of a car cane. Yeah,
Mhm.
car cane, portable handle door grab, assist mobility. Yeah, and some of these are like under $5. So I mean, it's a good, yeah. Mm.
Yeah, just make sure that they're installed really carefully,
Mhm.
because you have to put a lot of weight on those. And let me just get Brian's email address too.
I could do that.
You got that, Brian? If you're not handy, it might be worthwhile, bring it to your local car repair place so you can make sure it's installed, extra well, so it's not going to go anywhere. Yes, SUVs, getting in and out of an SUV seat that is high, that can also be very difficult. Especially, if you have difficulty with steps, etc. Okay, so I'm just going to show our last slide, which lists our contact information. And if you contact Naomi, has a list of everyone that registered for today, and she'll be sending out a link to today's presentation. But here's our contact information for Brian and myself. And our email addresses are in the chat window.
Yeah, so I want to thank everyone for attending, and if you enjoyed this 5 series webinar, thanks for attending some of the others. And Adam and I have some other ideas for a future series that we'll discuss with Mike and Naomi. So look for, keep in touch, go to the Attack Center webpage and, see what's coming up so you can take advantage of it.
Yeah, that's exactly right. The other thing is, I just wanted to add is that if there's particular ideas that you have for webinars that you would like to see, either us do or someone else, please let us know if there's particular areas, within the realm of assistive technology. We'd be happy to consider it for sure. Great. So thanks very much for all your great questions and comments. If you have time, please fill out the survey.